In this video, we're going to talk about the best job you can have as a new helicopter pilot.
It's like autopilot, dude.
How do you fly a helicopter? Well, I'm going to show you. Now, if you want to be a professional helicopter pilot and you want to build experience, there's multiple ways of doing it, but by far the best way to build experience and to build time, flight hours, is by becoming a certified flight instructor. Now, I know many people who wanted to be a certified flight instructor, but I know a ton of people who do not want to become a CFI. I'm going to run through all the different variables, all the reasons, and I just ask that you sit through, listen to them. Now, we can debate in the comments down below. If you disagree with me for any of these reasons, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Now, probably the biggest reason that you should become a certified flight instructor if you want to become a professional helicopter pilot, going through the CFI training is very challenging. When you get your commercial pilot's license, yes, you are technically rated as a commercial helicopter pilot, but in all honesty, the commercial pilot check ride and the knowledge you have to learn for that is pretty easy, and you don't learn as much as I believe you should learn. Now, when you contrast that to becoming a certified flight instructor, you have to learn absolutely everything. You have to be extremely competent on all the skills, not only flying from the right seat, but flying from the left seat, critiquing students on what they do wrong, and being able to save the helicopter if it ever gets in a compromised position. But more importantly, as you go through CFI training, all of the knowledge you learn is significantly more than you do in your commercial pilot. You have to be extremely well versed in all of the concepts. You have to understand aerodynamics up and down, back and front, top to bottom, because you're going to have multiple different students ask you aerodynamic questions, and you have to be able to answer them, and answer them in simple and very complex ways. You have to understand all of the regulations extremely well. So immediately, just by getting the CFI rating, you are a better helicopter pilot than you would be if you were just a commercial helicopter pilot, in my opinion. Now, the next point, if you want to become a commercial helicopter pilot, becoming a CFI is the best way to get your foot in the industry. Now, I would go as far as to saying you have nearly a 100% guarantee shot at getting a job as soon as you get your certified flight instructor rating. Now, I've been in the helicopter industry for the last 5 years, and the entire time I've been in it, there has been a demand for certified flight instructors. Flight schools are always looking for new CFIs to teach all the people that want to become helicopter pilots. As for my personal experience, before I even left helicopter flight school and before I had my CFI, I already had job offers from multiple different schools looking for me. They knew that I was going to complete my CFI, and I legitimately had job offers wanting to snatch me up, so I had my choice at jobs, paying jobs right out of school. If you just get your commercial pilot's license with maybe 150, 200 hours, you're going to have a much harder time at finding a job versus different other qualified candidates that just have their commercial pilot's license. But if you have a CFI, you're very likely to get a job. The next point is there is tons of flying and tons of variety in the flying, and this is really important, so hear me out. Let's say you don't want to do this and you just want to build flight time and you don't want to become a CFI, so you get your commercial pilot's license, maybe you get your instrument, and then you get picked up luckily somehow at about 200 hours as a tour pilot. Okay, flying tours is great and you can build flight time very fast, and what flight time you're going to build is just regular pilot and command time and total time. Now, as a certified flight instructor teaching students, you will build cross-country time, which is something you probably won't get as a tour pilot, or you're definitely not going to get a ton of. But as a certified flight instructor, your students are going to have to go on many different cross countries, and obviously you have to go with them, so you get to log that time too. So that cross-country time is super valuable. Jobs want and need you to have cross-country time. So if you're just a tour pilot, it's going to be very challenging to build that time. But as a flight instructor, you can build hundreds of hours of cross-country time as you go on these cross countries with your students. Now, the other time you're going to build is nighttime. Now, some tour operators do nighttime operations, but it's not a ton, and you can still build nighttime doing tours, but you're going to build a lot of it as a CFI. You know, each student that you have, they're going to need anywhere from 5 to 15 hours depending on where they're training, or if you take them all the way through it, they're going to need a lot of nighttime. So you're going to have a lot of opportunity as a CFI to build that nighttime. And more importantly, with the nighttime, you're going to be able to get night cross-country time. The likelihood that you get nighttime where you're going somewhere far on a tour and getting that cross-country time is very highly unlikely. But as a certified flight instructor, you will get tons of night cross-country time, which is hugely important. If you want to move up in the industry jobs, you have to have night cross-country time. And I guess there are some ways to build it outside of flight instructing, but this is by far the easiest. It's the way to build the fastest. I can't say it more emphatically. It's really important, and it's a great way to build your experience. Now, this is also arguably the most important point about about why you should become a certified flight instructor. By becoming a certified flight instructor, you get to practice all the maneuvers all the time. If you go through and get your private and your commercial, once you're done with your commercial and you get your first job, maybe as a tour pilot or something, you are not going to be doing any of the maneuvers anymore. You might do some initial new hire training where you practice a couple maneuvers, or maybe every 6 months annually you'll get to do a couple maneuvers. But as a certified flight instructor, you get to do all of the maneuvers all day long. You get to practice all the maneuvers, vortex ring state, slope landings, more specifically emergency procedures. You get to teach emergency procedures, and you get to demonstrate emergency procedures, and you get to be in the helicopter as students are making mistakes so you can see things they do. You get to help them fix it. So your skills are 100% increasing all the time, every single day that you're out there teaching people how to fly, which is something you don't get if you're just a commercial helicopter pilot getting paid to fly tours. There are definitely downsides to becoming a flight instructor. It's dangerous. You're flying with people that have no flight experience. You're giving them the controls and you're trying to teach them through that. They're going to put the helicopter in really unstable conditions and you're going to have to fix it. Yes, that makes you a better helicopter pilot by getting the helicopter out of a compromised position, but it is dangerous. It can also be kind of boring sometimes. You know, you're just teaching someone how to hover and you get them into a hover for 1 second and then they lose it. So you bring it back, you get them in a hover, they hold it for 2 seconds, you bring them back. And after multiple hours of this, yes, it can get kind of old, but if you enjoy helicopters and you love helicopters and you're getting paid to sit in a helicopter, it really doesn't have to be unenjoyable. It doesn't have to be boring. Another downside is it's not always consistent flying. Now in America, in the summer, you're going to be flying a lot. You know, people want to go take flight lessons. They want to get outside. They want to go explore. So there's going to be a lot of flight time in the summer. As the winter months come down, depending on the type of school you're at, you might fly less and there's going to be slow down times, which is kind of unfortunate, but that's just the way the industry goes. Now, if you're at a bigger school, you might have consistent year-round students, which is awesome, but it can kind of ebb and flow. But you're probably not going to be a CFI for your entire life, so you can get through a season of ebbs and flows. Now, the last downside to becoming a certified flight instructor is the pay is not great. You're not going to be making a ton of money, but anywhere you start out in the industry, you're not going to make a ton of money. As a tour pilot, yes, you might make some tips, but you're probably not going to be making a ton of money. As a flight instructor, you're probably not going to be making a ton of money, but that's not the point. The point is to build hours, to build experience, to make yourself more marketable, and then you can pretty quickly, as you build that flight experience, you can climb up the ranks, make more money, and put yourself in a better position. So hopefully you can tell how much I care about this subject. I didn't think I'd love being a CFI as much as I do. I think it's so important. I think you benefit so much from it. It's just the greatest thing. I think it's the best job you can have as a new helicopter pilot. I think most pilots would benefit from it. But if you got through this video and none of that interests you and you didn't see any of the points I made, let me know down in the comments below why you disagree, why there's a better route. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this video, maybe you'll enjoy this video here where I talk about some of the biggest mistakes I've ever made in a helicopter, and maybe you can relate to some of those and you can learn from them and not make the same mistakes yourself. If you found yourself enjoying this video, let me know down in the comments below. Smash the like button and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.